Siraj, and I'll take you to the IRAS GST invoice now requirements for vendors with invoicing functionality. So, next slide, please. Okay. So, the GST invoice now requirement is something that has been added to the InvoiceNow network recently. On 15th April 2024, IRAS has announced that moving forward, they will be requiring GST registered companies to supply them with the invoices uh, that that are being transacted for between GST registered companies of to or from GST registered companies, so that at a future point in time they can potentially automate the GST reporting, much like what has been done for income tax reporting. Okay, so Invoice Now, as many of you may know, is Singapore's nationwide e-invoicing B2B network. So Invoice Now allows businesses to send and receive the invoices and associated documents like purchase orders between companies, financing or accounting systems. Okay. So this is based on the international PEPAL standard and has been in market for the last 5 years. We've got about over 60,000 businesses already registered, with a number of them using that. Now, moving forward, what is going to happen is that IRAS has required that GST registered businesses will be required to use Invoice Now solution to send their invoice data for tax administration phases. Okay, and this is part of IRAS's aim to digitalize the GST reporting functionality. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Now, how this will work is that most of you who are having solutions, businesses will use your solutions to generate the invoices for transmission to the customer. Now, as and when these invoices are generated, a copy of them will be sent to IRAS. Okay, and IRAS will then have a copy that will be used to reconcile with your quarterly FI GST reporting. Right? Yeah. Yes, that's fine. Thanks, Manoj. So, next slide, please. Right. So this is part of the business obligation that if you're on GST, you will need to then comply with the GST obligations. And what GST Invoice Now requirements will do is that it will help businesses reduce the manual compliance efforts for automated data submission. That should enable them to, take advantage of faster GST refunds. If there's any audit, because IRAS would already have a copy of your data, then it will be much faster and easier. And lastly, but not least, businesses can also check incoming invoices whether the GST, any GST being charged is legitimate or not. Okay, so these are some of the options that are made available under this new scheme. Just to kind of give you a bit of a timeline. Next slide, please. So what this requirements will impact is all solutions that generate invoices. Okay, and that would include generic solutions such as inventory management, sales management, accounting management, inventory, e-procurement, okay, logistics solution, purchase management, accounting management. So what you would need to do is the ability to activate the user for GST Invoice Now data submission. Within the solution, anything that has relevant GST information, you would need to be able to extract that data and package it for submission. After packaging, you will then transmit it to an access point for transmission to IRAS. And lastly, once you have transmitted the data, you would need to be able to reconcile the data for GST FI reporting. Okay. So do note that this requirement is mandatory from 1st April 2025 onwards. So you have over the next 6 to 9 months to build this functionality in your platform. If you have any questions, you can always write to us at invoice@imda.gov.sg. Go to our website at www.imda.gov.sg/invoice now. Okay. You can also search the web for GST Invoice Now requirement, and you should be able to see what are the requirements from both the IRAS as well as the IMD websites. Okay. With that, let me hand you back to Jiling, and thanks for being